Welcome back to the channel. We're going to go ahead and start putting together these clues for the past four Avengers teaser trailers, as well as the two most recent post-credit scenes, also directed by the Russo brothers. So they had some comments on the latest Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer, the one with Black Panther, and they said, hey, what you've been watching so far for the past 4 weeks, they are not teasers or trailers, they are stories, they are clues. Pay attention. So we're gonna go ahead and dive more into this, break down these trailers and these post-credit scenes a little bit more, and really just put those pieces together. Something to notice is that a lot of these heroes now do have children, so pay attention to that. And I believe that that'll eventually lead into like a Young Avengers or a New Avengers project later down the line. And also, multiple teams will be formed in this Avengers Doomsday movie. But let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Post-credit scene number one, the Thunderbolts. So this takes place 14 months after the events of the movie taking place up in Avengers Tower, or the old Avengers Tower in New York City. And this tells us that Avengers Doomsday also takes place 4 months later after this film. So the current team of the Thunderbolts are Asterisk, aka the New Avengers, is Bucky Barnes, Yelena Belova, Ghost, U.S. Agent, the Sentry, and Red Guardian. Now this is kind of like the C or the D squad team that you send in after everybody been killed because you ain't got nobody left. And basically this team is on standby essentially, right? So they also can't use the Avengers name because Sam Wilson said, hey, I put in the copyright. I'm using the name for my team of Avengers that I'm forming for this threat that's going up in space, and y'all can't use it. So they basically got to come up with a new name. They'll probably end up going back to the Thunderbolts, but we'll kind of see if they continue to call this team the New Avengers in this movie. But time will tell, and we will find out sooner than later. So there is a space crisis going on. It sounds like it's been going on for a little while now. And what they do is they pull up the satellite image, and we see an extra dimensional shift is basically entering the atmosphere. And then the ship turns, revealing the Fantastic Four logo. I love this scene. This is one of my favorite post-credit scenes that they've released in recent years, and really helping to tie everything else together. And this post-credit scene leads directly into what we see happens at the end of Fantastic Four. But like I said, who else could potentially be on this ship? And that's where we go to the comments from Kevin Feige about this post-credit scene. So he said that, hey, their ship is called the Excelsior. Shout out to Stan Lee. And there is a Fantastic Four ship entering the MCU, but I'm not sure they are the same ship. So those were his comments on the actual post-credit scene. So my thoughts on this is that it's most likely that Doctor Doom is also on this ship, or he stole this ship from the Fantastic Four and is entering the MCU 616 universe. And that leads directly into what we see with post-credit scene number two, the Fantastic Four. So we see Sue Storm. She's reading a book to her son Franklin Richards, and she goes in the kitchen to grab another book because he wants another book to read. And she sees something, and she starts to activate her powers. And this is revealed to be Doctor Doom, and he has the mask off, right? And we see Franklin Richards with his hand on Doom's face. So this kind of tells us that Franklin, he might be healing Doctor Doom's scar face, which would explain why Doom doesn't really need the mask, and why Robert Downey Jr. will probably most likely be walking around in the movie without his mask on, because we already know who he is, so he doesn't really need the mask. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but Franklin is most likely probably healing Doom's face, and Doom wants Franklin because he has the power cosmic. Now, this is the same reason why Galactus wanted Franklin Richards as well, because Galactus, he no longer wanted to be the Hungerer. He wanted Franklin to basically take his place, right? So Doom is probably going to kidnap Franklin for his powers and steal the Fantastic Four ship. Or another option that can happen is Doom could be manipulating the Fantastic Four, and they're both on the ship, and they both enter the MCU 616 universe together at the same time. But we will see. So we know, so far that Incursions, they've been taking place for a while, like we saw in Spider-Man No Way Home, right? He had Doctor Strange with him. Also, we saw Incursions in Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. We saw a post-credit scene for that when I believe It was Clea who came in and was like, "Hey, you started an incursion," and then they jumped through a portal to basically go see Dormammu. In the Marvels, there was also an incursion that took place as well. I still have to finish that movie. It's one of my least favorite MCU movies. I watched it, tried to watch it like 3 times. I still haven't finished it yet, so I still got to finish it. That movie also has a post credit scene that leads into the X-Men with the Beast character, right? So incursions will be happening in this movie that's going to lead directly into Avengers Secret Wars. And that leads us into teaser trailer number one, Steve Rogers, right? And this one might actually be what causes an incursion because Steve Rogers technically isn't supposed to stay in the past. He was just supposed to return the Infinity Stones, and that was it, right? So there's some theories going around about that because, like I said, Peggy Carter, one of her descendants is Sharon Carter. We've seen Sharon Carter in a bunch of the MCU movies, right? And we already know that Peggy married another man and had children. But if Steve Rogers goes back in time and he's that person, you know what I'm saying, what does that mean for the actual timeline that they're in right now? And that is what might actually cause an incursion, him deciding to stay in the past and change the events of the future. So like I said, getting into the teaser, we know he's a family man now, right? He has a ring on his finger. They have a newborn baby, so we know he decided to go ahead and marry Peggy. Like I said, he puts up the suit, so he is no longer Captain America. He went back, or he stayed in the timeline, and he gave the shield to Sam Wilson. So we know in this scene, this takes place in the past, making it a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame, right? So that means somebody actually traveled through time and they're going to get Steve Rogers, right? And probably also kidnap his child. Like if Doom is the one that traveled back in time, he might be either coming to get kidnap his child and come get Steve Rogers, or maybe it's somebody else like Sam Wilson or another character that has the ability to time travel and they decided to go back in the past and say, hey, we need Steve Rogers. We got to go pick him up because we got a big threat. Doom is coming, right? So we know that right now, Steve Rogers will return, but Sam Wilson is the current Captain America. So will Steve Rogers put the suit back on, or will Steve Rogers turn evil, turning into the Hell Hydra version of Captain America and join forces with Doom? Thor teaser trailer number two. Now, this is probably my favorite teaser trailer because Thor is talking essentially to the audience, or he's letting us know what's going on in the film. He's showing us a little bit of emotion of how he's feeling. So definitely, this is my probably my second favorite teaser trailer, right? But Thor, he's praying to Odin, he's praying to the All Father, right? And he says, Father, all my life I've answered every call to honor, duty, to war, but now fate has given me something I never saw, a child, a life untouched by the storm. And I love this line right here because we know Thor, he has an adopted daughter from the previous movie, Thor, Love and Thunder. A lot of people hate that movie. I actually don't mind it. I think people hate Thor, Love and Thunder just as much as they hate Ant-Man Quantumania. Lend me the strength so that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home not as a warrior, but as warmth, to teach her not battle, but stillness, the kind I never knew. Father, heed my words. Now, this scene right here, it sounds like Thor is scared to die. To me, that's what it sounds like, right? Not only now he has something to fight for, but now he actually has something to live for, right? Because previous, we already know the character that I'm gonna jump to a little bit later in this video, but he lost everybody that was around him, right? And then he would just one day he just by himself. Even the OG Avengers, right? They're basically gone too. Iron Man's gone. Captain America got old. Black Widow, she passed away. Hawkeye, we don't even know where Hawkeye is at. Hawkeye is off the radar. The Hulk, he's basically Smart Hulk now. He's not Bruce Banner, but we are gonna get the real Hulk, the real Incredible Hulk in Spider-Man. So I'm looking forward to that. But basically, nobody is left. It's just Thor. All his friends are gone. It is just him and his daughter. So he actually has something to live for. So another thing to mention, we are going to get Thor and a Loki reunion in this, right? Loki is now the god of story. So if you haven't watched the Loki series over on Disney Plus, definitely got to check that out. It's very good. Even though Kang is not the villain in Avengers Doomsday anymore, right? That's what it was supposed to be. Then they decided to go ahead and pivot, but those 2 seasons for Loki are phenomenal. So go check that out. But Loki is the god of stories, right? He's holding the fabric of the universe together literally in his hands, right? So Doom, he's coming for Loki's powers, right? Because right now, Doom, he's coming for Franklin because Franklin has the power cosmic. Thor is the god of stories. So, hey, I need to go ahead and get Loki too to get his power. So, don't be surprised if Loki dies in this movie too. This will, if he does die, this will be, I believe, the fourth time the character has actually died and then came back to life. So don't be surprised if Loki does die. But like I said, Loki is the god of stories, and Doom is coming for Loki. X-Men teaser trailer number 3. This is the best teaser they dropped out of all four of them. The line from Magneto just absolutely just kills it. But we are back at the X Mansion, the school for the gifted, right? In this building, it looks abandoned, it looks destroyed. This building I think has been blown up like 6 or 7 times now. Go back and look at all the previous X-Men movies. This building gets blown up a lot. It happened in, I think it was Days of Future Past. It got blown up, and I think it got blown up in the second X Men movie. But something is always happening to this building, whether it gets blown up, attacked. Something's going on. Something always going on in this building. But the X Men are back, and they are in the MCU now, thanks to Deadpool, right? But like I said, the line is being narrated by Magneto. He says, "Death comes for us all. It's all I know for sure. The question isn't, are you prepared to die? The question is, who will you be when you close your eyes?" That line is perfect for a teaser trailer coming from Magneto. So that just made me a lot more excited for this sim for this movie. But we see Cyclops, he takes off his visor and he unleashes an optic blast. We got some Sentinels in the background, so we're getting comic accurate suits in this movie, a comic accurate Cyclops. Um, don't be surprised if Cyclops dies, because they always do my boy Cyclops wrong. So don't be surprised if he dies pretty early on in this. But we're getting a comic accurate X-Men suits. Magneto, Professor X, they are back. They are confirmed for this movie as well. The Beast, he is also going to be in this movie. Remember, go back to the Marvel's post-credit scene. We saw, I forget who the character's name was, but she traveled, Monica Rambeau, she basically went through the portal and she woke up and Beast was right in front of her, right? So Beast is in the film. We have Nightcrawler, Mystique is Nightcrawler and Mystique are also confirmed for the film as well. Two characters who are not confirmed for this are Wolverine and Deadpool. Now, I don't know if they're going to be on in this movie or if they're going to wait to Secret Wars to put Wolverine and Deadpool in that one. But right now, Wolverine and Deadpool are not confirmed. They are not on the cast list for this movie. But the X-Men, they will be a team in this, and they're gonna have to find a way to get into the MCU 616 universe. Probably with the help of Monica Rambeau, because she is the one that went through the portal, right? Because everybody thought she died, but she went through the portal and she was still alive, and she is currently trapped there. So they're gonna figure out a way to get into the 616 universe. Or another thing that can happen is Doom could potentially come to them. We've already seen that the Fantastic Four is able to come into the MCU, into the 616 universe. So what's not to say, hey, Doom can do the same thing and jump into the X-Men universe. Black Panther Shuri teaser trailer number 4. Now, this wasn't my favorite teaser trailer out of all of them, but I say it's probably like number 3 on the list. But Shuri, she is narrating. She says, "I have lost everything that matters to me. The king has his duties to prepare the people for the afterlife, and I have mine." Now, during this scene, I basically, or really earlier than this, I basically noticed that they gave Shuri pretty much the exact same storyline that they gave Thor. Thor is the protector of Asgard, but Thor is not the king. So keep that in mind. Shuri is the protector of Wakanda, but M'Baku is the king. So there are a lot of similarities between the Shuri character and the Thor character in these movies. So I'm hoping that Shuri and Thor do have some interaction in Avengers Doomsday. I feel like it would just be a missed opportunity because there's so much overlap between what they've already set up between both of those characters. Shuri and M'Baku, they go to meet the Thing, Ben Grimm, so that lets us know that, hey, the Fantastic Four has arrived in our universe. We also see Namor, and it looked like that his kingdom was either in the desert or the ocean that surrounds his kingdom has all been dried up. and that would be due to an incursion. So if an incursion does happen, which I'm pretty sure it will, an incursion will happen similar to how the moon works. It would essentially move the water, move the oceans, and it would allow the ocean where his country is, where his kingdom is at the bottom of the sea, to eventually be dried up. Now, the doomsday clock has begun. It's begun ticking down to December 18th. And like I said, everything we've seen so far is leading up to an incursion event taking place in the movie. But that'll do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on these teaser trailers that Marvel has been releasing, and also those post-credit scenes that I covered earlier in the video. Let me know, hit the like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.